Did you know that in 2024, researchers from three major universities, Harvard, Stanford, and Johns Hopkins, quietly published something that should terrify and empower every person over 60? They tracked thousands of older adults for more than a decade, and what they found shocked even them. The people who stayed independent the longest, who avoided nursing homes, who kept their memory, who walked without help into their late 80s and 90s, were not the ones with the biggest families, the most children, or the most helpful relatives. In fact, when the data was crunched, family support alone predicted less than 30% of who actually stayed independent. The other 70% was decided by something else, a set of hidden supports that almost no one ever talks about at family dinners. These supports are so powerful that older adults who built all of them showed biological markers up to 10 to 12 years younger than their age. Their inflammation was lower, their brain scans looked younger, and they delayed or completely avoided the fall off the cliff moment, the day you suddenly can't live on your own anymore. Here's the scary part. Many of the seniors who ended up in nursing homes also had families who loved them, but they were missing these hidden supports. If you're 60 plus right now, this should hit you like a cold wave. Your future might not be decided by your children, grandchildren, or who promises to be there for you. It's being decided quietly every day by 5 supports you may or may not be building. And in this video, we're going to expose all 5 of them. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s, and you've ever looked in the mirror and wondered, will I be able to live on my own in 10 years? Will I be a burden on my kids? Will I lose my independence before I lose my life? Then this video is for you. This is not about scaring you with age. This is about showing you that there are 5 supports more powerful than family, more predictive than luck, and more under your control than you think, even if you live alone. And the shocking twist? Most people over 60 are missing at least 3 of them. In one major aging study, researchers found that these support pillars were more than twice as predictive of healthy aging than how many children you had, how often they visited, or how close your family claimed to be. In fact, seniors who built all 5 hidden supports reduced their risk of nursing home placement by over 50%, delayed mobility disability by 7 to 9 years on average, and reported higher happiness even when illnesses showed up. These are not just ideas. They are measurable patterns in blood markers, brain scans, and physical tests. So what are these supports? We'll count them down from number 5 to number 1. And the number 1 support is so powerful that one Stanford team called it the difference between simply surviving and rewriting your entire aging journey. Stay with me, because if you miss even one of these, your future could look very different. Before we dive in, tell me in the comments, I'm Kaniya years old, and right now I rely mostly on family, myself, friends, faith, or another. I read these and it helps me create more videos that actually speak to what you're going through. Now let's start with support number 5, the one that quietly decides whether everyday stress breaks you or bounces off you. After 60, life doesn't suddenly become gentle. Friends pass away, bodies change, children move states. Doctor's appointments become more common than parties. The difference between seniors who crumble under this and seniors who bend but don't break is not who loves them. It's whether they've built an inner emotional shock absorber. Psychologists call this emotional resilience, your ability to feel pain, fear, disappointment without getting stuck there. A large study on adults over 60 found that those with higher emotional resilience had 31% fewer doctor visits, significantly lower risk of depression, and much lower levels of inflammation markers in their blood. In brain scans, resilient seniors showed something wild. The fear center of the brain, the amygdala, was less reactive, and the decision-making part, the prefrontal cortex, had stronger connections. In plain English, their brains were better wired to handle bad news. 2 seniors can get the same bad diagnosis on the same day. One slowly shuts down, withdraws, stops moving, loses interest, and declines rapidly. The other feels the shock, cries, gets angry, but then slowly begins to adapt, ask questions, make plans, seek support. 5 years later, their lives look completely different. not because of who their family is, but because of how they handle hard emotions. That's why emotional resilience is a support pillar, not a personality trait. It's something you can build. There are 3 practical skills emotionally resilient older adults use every day. 1, cognitive reframing. When something bad happens, they never stop at the first, darkest thought. Example, instead of, my knees hurt, I'm falling apart, they learn to ask, what is my body trying to tell me? What can I still do today? What small adjustment would make this easier? Researchers say that people who deliberately practice finding at least 2 to 3 alternative thoughts about a difficult situation recover emotionally much faster and show better health markers. 2, emotional granularity. Most people just say, I feel bad. Resilient seniors get specific. I feel disappointed. I feel lonely. I feel worried about my balance. Studies show that older adults who can name their feelings more precisely have better blood pressure, better sleep, and better decision-making. You don't need therapy to do this. You just need a journal and the patience to write, today I feel frustrated, anxious, hopeful, grateful, scared, tired, curious. The more specific you are, the less power the feelings have over your body. 3, 5-year distance. Trick. When something really hits hard, resilient seniors mentally step into the future and ask, how will I remember this 5 years from now? This simple trick lowers emotional intensity dramatically. It doesn't erase problems, but it keeps them from swallowing your entire day. Let me tell you about Doris, 73. Her only son moved across the country for work. She felt abandoned. Her first thought was, I'm going to die alone. For months, she replayed that thought. Her sleep worsened. Her back pain flared up. Her blood pressure climbed. Then a therapist taught her reframing and emotional granularity. Instead of only thinking, I'm abandoned, she practiced saying, I'm sad because I miss my son. I'm angry at life's timing. I'm also proud he has a good job. Slowly, she stopped seeing herself as a helpless victim and started asking, what can I build here, where I live? A year later, she had joined a walking group, volunteered twice a week, and had 3 new close friends. Same son, same distance, different emotional support inside. That's what this pillar does. It decides whether loneliness becomes a life sentence or a chapter you grow from. Most seniors spend their energy hoping their family will protect them from loneliness and stress. But the data is clear. The seniors who do best are the ones who quietly build this inner support, so they don't break when life doesn't go as planned. In a minute, we're going to talk about support number 4, and this one is scary. It decides whether one bad fall, one surgery, or one flu turns into a permanent loss of independence or just a temporary setback. You do not want to miss that. Let's move to the second hidden support, your physical reserve, the extra capacity your body has beyond what you use on a daily basis. Think of it this way. If getting out of a chair already takes everything you've got, what happens the day your body's a little weaker? That's when people fall. That's when they never quite get back up after surgery. That's when the slow decline begins. Researchers call this physiological reserve how much extra strength, lung power, balance, and flexibility your body has in the bank. Here's the terrifying part. Many older adults are living right at the edge, using almost 100% of their capacity just to get through an ordinary day. So when a crisis comes, there is no backup. In one large study of seniors over 60, doctors noticed a brutal pattern. A person falls, breaks a hip, or gets pneumonia. They go to the hospital, then rehab. Physically, they could improve, but they don't have reserve. Within months, they're labeled unable to live independently. It often looks like it happens suddenly, but in reality, their support pillar of physical reserve had been crumbling quietly years before. Here's the good news that should feel like a shock. People over 60, 70, even 80 can still build reserve. One Mayo Clinic study showed older adults increasing strength by over 100% in months with proper resistance and walking routines. Your body is not done unless you stop talking to it. This support has 3 main parts. 1, muscle as medicine. Your muscles are not just meat, they're a chemical factory. They release myokines, little messenger proteins that lower inflammation, Talk to your brain. Protect your blood sugar. Every extra pound of muscle after 60 is like adding another tiny pharmacy inside your body. You don't need heavy lifting. You need progressive challenge, chair stands, wall push-ups. Light resistance bands twice a week, 20-30 minutes, is enough to start building reserve. 2. Exercise snacking. Instead of one big session that wipes you out, you sprinkle tiny bursts throughout the day. 10 chair stands while the kettle boils. Marching in place during TV commercials. 2 minutes of stair-stepping every hour. Research shows that this snacking style improves heart health more than long workouts in seniors, and it feeds your reserve instead of draining it. 3. Metabolic flexibility. This is your body's ability to burn both sugar and fat for energy. Most people over 60 lose this, so they crash easily, crave more, and feel tired but wired. Simple 10 to 12 hour overnight eating windows, no late night snacking, plus gentle movement help restore this flexibility, giving you more stable energy day after day. Problem: one bad week, an illness, a fall, a surgery, can steal independence if your reserve tank is empty. Solution: emotional resilience, so stress doesn't crush you, physical reserve so crises don't end you. So far, you've seen support 5 and support 4, and you're starting to see the pattern. This is not about family saving you. This is about building supports that hold you up no matter what your family does. In the next part of this same video, we'll reveal support number 3, the one that decides whether you stay mentally sharp or slowly disconnect from life even while your body is still here. It has nothing to do with genetics, and when you hear how powerful it is, you may rethink who you spend time with and where your time goes every week. You've just seen 2 of the quiet forces that decide how your later years unfold: your emotional shock absorber and your physical reserve tank. Now we're going even deeper into something most seniors completely underestimate, and yet it's one of the strongest predictors of whether your brain stays bright or slowly dims while your body is still here. And no, it's not having a lot of friends or being the life of the party. Let's talk about support number 3. Imagine 2 70-year-olds. One spends most days alone. The TV is always on. They talk to maybe one person a day, on the phone for a few minutes. The other sees a small circle of people regularly: a walking buddy, a neighbor they chat with, a group at church or a local center. Nothing huge, just steady connection. 10 years later, their brains do not look the same. Long-running studies on aging have shown something that still shocks doctors. Older adults with strong, meaningful social ties have about 50% lower risk of early death, dramatically lower risk of dementia, less depression, and better physical function, even with the same illnesses. Here's the "oh my God, does this even happen?" part. In brain scans, seniors with richer social lives literally had more active neural networks. Their brains lit up like busy cities at night. Those who were isolated, their brain activity looked like dim, quiet streets. This is why researchers now call social connection a super pill for aging, one that no drug can replace. Most people over 60 hear social support and think, well, I have my family. That's enough. But the data says something different. The seniors who thrive tend to have 3 layers of connection. 1, the inner circle, your 2 or 3 lifelines. These are the people you could call at 3 a.m. if you were really in trouble. They know your stories. You can cry in front of them. Seniors with at least 2 such people show lower inflammatory markers and much less anxiety, even when facing serious illness. 2, the shared interest circle, 5 to 15 people. These aren't necessarily your closest people, but they are your regular tribe: the walking group, the class, the Bible study, the card club, the gardening friends. Seeing them regularly keeps your brain engaged and gives you something to look forward to. This layer is especially powerful for protecting memory. 3, the light touch web. Dozens of casual faces. The barista who knows your coffee order, the mail carrier you wave to, the neighbor you chat with over the fence. These little interactions create a sense of belonging to the world. Seniors with rich casual contact actually score higher on cognitive tests than those who only talk to close relatives. Here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. A lot of older adults rely almost exclusively on their children or spouse. But what happens if your spouse passes before you? What if your children are busy, overwhelmed, or living far away? What if they love you deeply, but they can't come as often as you wish? That's when seniors suddenly feel like the ground has disappeared beneath their feet, not because they don't have family, but because they never built these 3 layers of social support. Your future independence is not just about who loves you, it's about who you see, who you talk to, and how often you touch the world outside your front door. You don't need to become an extrovert. You need structures, not moods. Here are 3 simple moves. 1. The weekly anchor. Choose one recurring activity per week where you'll see the same faces. A senior center class, a small group at your place of worship, a walking club, a volunteer shift. Commit to 4 weeks in a row, no matter your mood. Connection builds from repetition, not from waiting to feel like it. 2. The tiny share rule. Each time you see someone from your shared interest circle, share one small personal thing. My knees were killing me yesterday, but I tried a new stretch. I was missing my grandson this week. I finally cleaned that closet I've been avoiding. These tiny disclosures are like bricks in a wall of trust. Over time, they form real friendships that hold you up when life hits. 3. The eye contact habit. When you go out, to the store, to a coffee shop, even just outside your front door, practice active friendliness. Look people in the eye. Smile, say hello, or thank you with warmth. It sounds too simple, but seniors who do this report feeling less invisible, and their mood scores go up significantly. Henry was 69 when he retired and moved to a quieter area to relax. His kids were busy, grandkids wrapped in their own worlds. Days passed with only the TV for company. I didn't realize I was disappearing while I was still alive, he later said. After a minor heart scare, his doctor told him bluntly, "Your heart is fine. Your isolation isn't." Henry started small. A weekly men's breakfast group at a diner, a Tuesday walking group at the park, saying hello to the same cashier at the grocery store. Within a year, he had 2 men he could call anytime, a loose group of 6 walking buddies, a sense that people would notice if he didn't show up. "I thought my family was my only net," Henry said. "Turns out I can build one around myself too." That's support number 3, your social lifeline. It keeps your brain alive, your mood stable, and your spirit plugged in. Most seniors who end up deeply lonely didn't plan to be isolated. They just didn't plan not to be. So ask yourself, if every family member suddenly moved away, what social supports would you still have left? If the answer scares you, that's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of where to start. Next, we're stepping into something even more powerful, the support that flips a switch inside your brain and immune system. The thing that can literally change your blood and your thoughts in the best way possible. Let's talk about support number 2. Support number 2, your reason to get up, purpose after 60. There is one question that quietly separates older adults who fade from those who glow. Why should I get out of bed today? Not because I have to, not because somebody expects me to, but because something about today matters to me. Researchers studying long-lived populations, like in parts of Japan, Costa Rica, and Italy, found something fascinating. Most people who live long and well have a word for the reason they're still here. In Japan, they call it ikigai, your reason for being. In the US, we might call it purpose, mission, or simply, what makes my life worth it? And here's the oh my God moment. Older adults with a strong sense of purpose live years longer on average, have lower risk of Alzheimer's recover, faster from surgeries and illnesses, and report much less depression, even when life gets hard. This isn't just psychological, it's biological. Purpose changes your chemistry. When you feel your life has meaning, your body reacts. Your brain releases more BDNF, a growth factor that helps maintain your neurons. Your immune system becomes more robust. Your inflammation lowers. Your stress hormones stabilize. Scientists looking at brain scans and blood work in purposeful seniors saw something stunning. Their brains look like they had a protective shield against age-related damage. Purpose is not just nice to have, it's a shield. Here's the scary truth most people avoid. Many people hit 60 or 65, retire, and think, I've done my job. Now I just exist. No plans beyond TV, scrolling, and waiting for family visits. Slowly, their days blur. They wake up without a why. And when humans lose their why, their body and mind both begin to quietly switch off. Their world shrinks. They feel in the way. They start to believe that nothing they do matters. That mindset is deadly, not just for mood, but for health. How seniors actually find purpose, it's simpler than you think. Purpose after 60 is not about saving the world. It's about contributing in ways that feel meaningful to you. Think of it as a triangle with three sides. One, what you're good at. It could be listening, fixing things, cooking, teaching, organizing, encouraging others. You've built skills for decades. They didn't vanish. Two, what the world around you needs. Look around. Lonely neighbors, children who need reading, help communities that need volunteers. Churches, centers, schools that run on helpers. There's always a gap somewhere. Three, what feels good to your soul? Not what impresses others. What makes you feel alive? Is it helping, creating, teaching, caring, building, leading, supporting? Your purpose lives where these three sides meet. Lynn, 67, felt empty after retiring. Her children were grown, her husband had passed, her days were quiet, and her memory felt foggy. She told her doctor, I feel like my life already ended. My body just hasn't caught up. Instead of just giving pills, her doctor asked, what did you love to do before life got busy? She had loved teaching kids to read. Within a month, she started volunteering 2 hours a week at a local school, helping children who were struggling with reading. At first, it felt small. Then something shifted. She started waking up thinking, I can't cancel. Those kids are waiting on me. 6 months later, her mood had lifted, her memory tests improved. She walked more, she laughed more. When asked how she felt, she said, my body still hurts sometimes, but now my life has a point. That changes everything. That's what purpose does. It doesn't remove every ache. It rearranges your relationship to them. Here's a simple weekly practice you can narrate straight to your viewer. Sit with a pen and paper. Divide it into 3 columns. What I'm good at, needs I see around me, what makes me feel alive. Write at least 5 things in each column, even if they feel small. Circle 1 overlap. Something you're good at that the world needs, and that feels good to you. Ask, what is one small action I can take this week in this area? That action might be calling a community center to ask about volunteering, offering to help a neighbor with something specific, starting a small group, walking, prayer, knitting, anything. Recording a short story for your grandkids or local library. Purpose doesn't arrive in one big lightning bolt. It shows up in consistent small actions that tell your brain, I still matter. So far you've seen. Support. 5. Your emotional shock absorber. Support. 4. Your physical reserve support. 3. Your social lifeline. Support. 2. Your reason to get up. Each one is powerful on its own. But support number 1 is different. Support number 1 is the master key that decides whether you adapt to new realities or get stuck in how things used to be and slowly lose ground. In the next and final part of this same video, we'll reveal the support that scientists say can literally grow new connections in an aging brain and may be the most important skill for staying independent longer than anyone expects. And no, your family cannot build this one for you. Only you can. You've made it through 4 of the 5 supports, and by now you're probably realizing something powerful. Your future after 60 is not shaped by luck or good genes, and it's definitely not decided only by family. It's shaped by supports you can build, even today, even at 70 or 80, even if you live alone. But now we reach the pillar that stands above everything. The pillar that scientists say literally turns an aging brain back on, rewires neural pathways, and determines whether you stay independent for years longer or slowly lose the ability to manage life on your own. This is support number one, the strongest predictor of thriving after 60. The master switch that decides whether you break or bend and grow. Adaptability is the quiet superpower that separates seniors who stay sharp, mobile, and independent from those who slowly withdraw, decline, and depend on others for everything. And here's the part that still shocks neuroscientists. Older adults who stay adaptable, who continue to adjust, learn, pivot, and try new ways, actually grow new brain connections at ages once thought impossible. A long-term Stanford study found that seniors with high adaptability had 42% lower mortality rates, 9.3 additional years of independent living, significantly lower risk of cognitive decline, and the ability to recover faster from shocks, stress, and illness. In brain scans, adaptable seniors didn't just maintain brain mass, they showed patterns of regrowth. Let that sink in. Your brain can still rewire itself after 60, 70, even 80, but only when you stay adaptable. What happens to seniors who stop adapting? Doctors see this all the time. A senior who always cooks suddenly stops because the oven feels complicated. A smartphone update changes the screen layout, and they give up on texting. A new medication routine confuses them once, and they stop managing their pills safely. A fall scares them, and they refuse to walk outside again. Every time a senior stops adapting, a small piece of independence quietly dies. This is what geriatricians call the adaptation cliff, when a person stops bending and begins breaking. Nobody falls off the cliff in one jump. It happens slowly, one fear, one challenge, one "I can't do this" at a time. But here's the shock you weren't expecting. Studies show you can train adaptability like a muscle. Seniors who practice adaptability a few minutes a day improve memory, problem solving, stability, confidence, reaction speed, emotional health, longevity markers. Even small improvements in adaptability can create massive life changes. You don't need big transformations. You need tiny, consistent steps that tell your brain, "I'm still learning. I can still adjust. I'm still alive." The 3 skills of adaptability. These are trainable at any age. 1. Novel challenge seeking. This means trying things you've never done before, even in tiny ways. A new walking route, a new recipe, a new app, a new store, a new hobby, a new chair exercise, a new breathing routine. Your brain lights up when it meets something unfamiliar. Novelty forces new neural pathways to form. In a University of Texas study, seniors engaging in 10-15 hours per week of new activities grew brain connectivity comparable to people in their 40s. That's not an exaggeration. That's a published scientific fact. 2. Perspective flexibility. This is your ability to see multiple sides of a situation. It rewires the brain's problem-solving centers, and it's easier than you think. Try this 1-minute drill. Pick a belief or opinion you hold strongly. Now spend 1 minute arguing the opposite side, as if you believe it. You may disagree with yourself, but that's not the point. The point is to stretch your thinking. People over 60 who do this exercise regularly show 34% higher cognitive reserve, better emotional control, better decision-making under stress. This is mental gymnastics for an aging brain. 3. Emotional adaptability. This means adjusting your emotional reactions as life changes. Not pretending everything is okay, not suppressing feelings, but saying, "Life changed, so I have to change how I respond." This is the skill that lets seniors switch their exercise routine when joints hurt, find new hobbies when old ones become difficult, ask for help before problems get worse. Let go of perfection, try solutions instead of shutting down. This is why emotionally adaptable seniors stay independent longer. They don't cling to how things used to be. They adjust to how things are now. Maria was 78 when her doctor told her she needed to stop gardening on her knees. Her joints couldn't handle it anymore. She cried for days. "I felt like life took something away from me," she said. Most people would stop gardening and slowly decline. But Maria was adaptable. She researched raised bed gardening, watched videos, asked neighbors for help building a waist-high planter, and learned new ways to tend her plants. A year later, her doctor noticed her blood pressure was better, her mood was brighter, and her cognitive tests had improved. She said, "I didn't lose gardening, I just changed it." That is adaptability. That is independence. That is survival. We rely too heavily on family, assuming they will somehow carry us through the storms of aging. But no family member can walk into your mind and build your emotional resilience, your physical reserve, your social lifeline, your purpose, or your adaptability. These five supports don't come from outside. They come from you, and they decide whether your future is something you fear or something you shape. Here's the truth. Aging is not the enemy. Unprepared aging is. Right now, no matter your age, 60, 70, 80, even 90, you can begin building these five supports. Strengthen your emotions, build physical reserve, create social protection, reignite your purpose, and train your adaptability. These are the supports that decide how long you stay independent, how sharp your mind remains, how strong your body feels, how connected you stay, how meaningful your days become. Family matters more deeply, but these five supports are what give families something strong to stand on. You are not too late, you are not too old, and you are not powerless. Starting today, starting right now, your future is still yours to build. Now let me ask you, which of the five supports do you feel strongest in right now? And which one do you want to build starting today? Comment your age and your answer below. Your comment might inspire someone else watching who feels alone, scared, or stuck. And if you found this video powerful, hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Because every day we post new life-changing tips for seniors who want to stay strong, independent, and in control. Thank you for watching, and remember, your future is not written yet. You can still rewrite it.